If you always wanted to learn Figma but had zero clue of where to start, you're not alone because I've actually been in that situation before. I'm praising I've been exactly where you are now. That's why I'm the right person to show you how this works. So welcome to Figma Masterclass for absolute beginners. Looking at the course outline, the first thing we're going to be looking at is what is Figma, why you should use it, and why it's preferred by other designers. After then, we'll jump into the basic anatomy of Figma interface, where I will show you guys in understanding everything that you're seeing on the interface of Figma. So when we start doing the hard stuff, you won't find it hard to navigate through the Figma interface. After module 1, we'll be jumping into module 2, where we'll be looking at some basic Figma terms, auto layout, component, variant, and variations. After module 2, we'll jump straight into understanding your design hierarchy, where I'll show you guys in understanding spacing hierarchy, color hierarchy, and sizing hierarchy. This module 3 is very important in this course. After understanding what design hierarchy is, we'll move straight into wireframing. So a wireframe is more like the basic structure of your design. I'll be showing you guys on how to turn your client's brief into a wireframe. After then, we move straight into module 5, where we'll be turning this wireframe we created in the last module into a high fidelity design. Then after designing it, we will then prototype it in module 6. As you can see, this is a very comprehensive course that would have somehow been a paid course, but I just chose to give everything, for free to the community. So sit tight and let's continue. I want to say a very big welcome to you for actually making this decision in learning Figma today. In this class, you will learn how to go from zero to actually designing your first user interface in Figma. And trust me, if this is the first time you are coming in contact with Figma, you don't have to panic because I'll be taking everything down to the basics. So we are going to be going over the basic anatomy of Figma before we go into some basic terminologies that you should know before we start moving out any frame. But the question here before we commence is, why do we use Figma? Figma is a design tool not only meant for UI UX. You can use it to do presentation. I even use this for graphic designing and so many other stuffs. So Figma is not only a UI UX designer's tool, it's a tool meant for all designers in the industry. I think that is enough introduction. Let's just move on into what we have in module 1. To get started, the first thing we have to do is to set up an account, because without an account, you can't do anything that we are going to be doing in this tutorial. So head on to figma.com, which is your official website. It's very easy to set up an account. So you just go ahead to click get started for free. So it's just a simple process. I trust you can handle that. Figma also has a web version and the local application. So if you ask me, I would highly recommend you download the Figma application into your system, because when designing, I don't like seeing my browser right here, because on the main application, everything that you see here concerns your design ethics. Before moving into creating a design project, let's just describe everything we are seeing here, because I know you're getting a bit confused. So the top section here, it's actually some folders, open folders that I've been designing on over time. I don't just know why I don't like closing them. So the top bar is where all your open folders will appear. Then at the middle section here, it's where all your drafts, all your projects are being stored. So it's almost the same thing with the top section, just that this one will let you see exactly what you have been working on over time. At the top section here is where you find Figma products. Like I said before now, I said Figma is not only UI UX designers tool. It's a versatile tool for everybody in the design industry. But for this class, we're going to be focusing more on the designing product. Moving over to this product here or other product here, FigJam is more like a mood board where you just come and draft out things, just ideas basically. But I don't really make use of FigJam just because I can do everything on the design page. Moving over, after FigJam, you'll find Figma slides. This is mostly used when you want to create presentations. One thing about Figma is that it just wants you to remain in the ecosystem. No need to go outside to our source for applications you can use to create slides. Everything can be done inside of the application. So Figma Boss, Figma Sites, and Figma Make was recently released in the last config 2025. So all these are new products. Figma Boss is more like an AI integrated aspect, as you can see, where you can input your prompt and it turns this prompt into designs and even go as far as generating codes for your design. So what do you think? Let's explore a little bit. So I can just say create a movie app and let's just say make it. You'll be redirected to another canvas which is meant for Figma Make, where to turn this your prompt into a live website you can even publish. And in a matter of minutes your design is ready. So this took roughly 3 to 5 minutes for it to generate this whole stuff. And you know the reason why it just took this amount of time? Let me just show you the reason why. If you go back to the coding aspect, you can see this lengthy lines of code that will ordinarily take half a day or 2 days to complete something like this. You can actually publish this, then anyone on the internet can have access to see it. You also have a second option of copying this design into another design canvas if you want to tweak things around. I think that is on the pro plan, because for you to copy this design, you have to update your plan from the starter to the professional. But one thing I'd like to say is this: I've been using Figma for over roughly 4 or 5 years now. I'm still on the starter plan. I've not updated to a professional plan or whatever, but I've been handling design projects. So you don't really need to update your plan. Everything on the free plan is okay to start and finish your design. Then the community menu is where you can find design resources, icon packs, plugin widgets, everything you need to design. You can find them on the community canvas, because this is where so many Figma designers come to display their jobs. I think that is everything on the outside part of Figma, because everything on the left hand side is basically saying the same thing as all project resources that you can find on the community canvas. So let's just move straight in creating a design project. So go back to the top section, click design, and it will generate a project for you. For you to understand the Figma interface, you can borrow the same strategy I use in understanding mine when I was a beginner. So I will divide my canvas into 4 parts, which is this, the center part, and the bottom part. So this is where all your design elements and assets components are going to be stored. So I'll walk you guys through on what is component later on. I think that should be in module 2 or 3. So going over to files, you can have more than 3 files or 4 files in a design project. So one can be for storing your components, the other can be for explaining what you have designed. Maybe the other one can be for your prototypes. I don't really know, I'm just giving use cases of what I use pages for. So to add a page, you just click the plus here, and you will see now there are 2 pages here. So I can just decide that, okay, one, I can place all my components here or wireframes. Then the second part, I can just place my main designs here. So let me just go ahead to delete this because we're not going to be making use of it. Below your pages section is your layers panel. This is where all your design elements are going to be stored. In this case, you don't have any design element. That's why you can see this layer section blank. So at the top section is where you can expand and reduce your view. So I don't really make use of this, so it's just to show you actually. Then the second section, which is the canvas, this is more like the playground of our design. This is where we are going to be designing all the cool stuffs we are going to be doing in this class. The third section is your properties panel. So this is it on the right hand side. So if I should bring out like a shape, so let me just bring out a shape here. You can see some settings on the properties panel. So the properties panel is dealing on a particular setting that contains a particular design element, if that makes sense. I can bring out a text, I can just write something like this. You can see on the properties panel, the settings that you saw on when we click this frame is not the same setting that you will see when we have selected this text. Then the last section, it's this one at the down. It used to be at the top here before Figma made some readjustments and updated it and shifted it to the down of this section. So this is called your tools bar. This is where most of your design tools lies. So the first one is more like the default, which is the move tool, where you can use to move things around in your canvas. Clicking the drop down section on the move tool, you can see the hand tool and the scale. So the hand tool works more like the move tool, but as you're using Figma, you can tell the difference between the move and the hand tool. Then the last one here is the scale, which helps you to, the shortcut for it is scale on your keyboard. That helps you to scale in and scale out elements on your design. Moving over, we have our frame tool. The shortcut for it is F on your keyboard. Think of frame like a sheet of paper. So you have a paper and everything you're writing is within the 4 sides or the 4 margins of the paper. It's only weird if you're writing a paper and you extend your hand outside of the paper to write on a table. They will call you Mr. Weird. So a frame is more like a sheet of paper where we design on. So if I was to select a frame, F on your keyboard, or when you select it manually from here, over to the properties menu, you can see different sizes of frames. So it depends on what you're working on. If it's a design that contains a mobile phone, so you just come over to the phone section and choose whatever frame you are working on. So if I'm designing a UI design for an iPhone 16 or iPhone 16 Pro, I can just come over here and select iPhone 16, and this will bring out the exact resolution, height and width of an iPhone 16 phone. So if you know it's a MacBook Air you're working on, you can just come here, select the frame and drag it out. But one thing is this: if you're designing for a web application, I don't think you need to choose whatever MacBook sizes. You just have to select one frame and it will be responsive to any screen size that belongs to a desktop. Under frames, you also have selections and slice tool. The selection tool is mostly used to group frames together. So you have this frame here and you want to group it to a section. The shortcut for it is Shift plus S and just drag out a frame like this. So if you have so many screens and you want to group them together, you can just group them in sections. You can choose to rename the section you have grouped to whatever thing you have grouped. So I can just rename this to maybe intro. And this will group everything that concerns an intro frame. I got a permission from my client to share this. So let me just show you why sections are important. So as you can see, we have so many screens that I've designed. This is actually an application that's supposed to go live next month or so. So you have so many designs here. Instead of leaving everything on the design canvas, you can just group everything together. So you have the first section here. I didn't really rename this, but this is supposed to be more like a loading state. Then the second part here, it's your onboarding screens. Just like that, you just have so many designs that are grouped into sections. After the section 2, you will find your rectangle. This is where you can find different shapes that you can use when designing. So you have your rectangle, you have your line tool, arrow, eclipse, polygon, star, and also you can add an image through this route. There are shortcut to it, which is Ctrl plus Shift plus K. I can't even remember the last time I even used this. Coming to the tools bar to add an image. We'll be bringing out our first rectangle. Let's just hit this and drag out a rectangle. And you might be thinking, what's the difference between a frame and a rectangle? Because you have to bring out, select a frame and drag it by the side here. You can see they are the same thing. It's the same frame, but nothing is really differentiating that this is a rectangle and this is a frame. But there's also a name on it, so you can just say that this one is writing frame 1 and this one doesn't carry any name on it. But don't ever make this mistake of bringing out a rectangle when you should have used a frame. What do I mean? So like I said, a frame is like a sheet of paper that we use in designing. And let's just say we want to add like an element rectangle inside of this frame. So let's just select this and drag it out inside of it like this. And let's change the color. Let me just change it to black and copy it to the other frame. So this example I'm about to show you, it's one of the reasons why I said you should not mistake using a rectangle when you should have used a frame to design. Because when you use a frame, it holds everything, all the design elements together. But a rectangle, watch, it's not really holding the frame inside of it. So it's more like giving this vibe that anything you place in front of me, it's your business, it doesn't concern me. Though it's looking like the rectangle is inside of the rectangle, but it's not really holding the content of it. Next up, you have your pen tool. This will help you to draw stuff out or maybe to create lines. You can use this to create graphs. I mostly make use of it. Down here is your pencil tool that you can use to create little scribble effect on your design. Moving over, it's your text. The shortcut for it is T. I don't really need to tell you this, so just hit T on your keyboard instead of coming over here to select a text. Next up is your comment. This is mostly when you have collaborators in your design. So if there's a mistake I might have made somewhere around here, my client wants me to see it, you can come over here to use a comment tool and go to this particular section and drop whatever thing, maybe change this to white. So by doing it this way, whenever I come into this design canvas, I don't really need to ask my client where he has made a comment. It's actually visible. So whenever you hover through it, you can just see the text that your client wants you to see. So that's it for the comment tool. Over here is your action menu. This is where you can find your assets, plugins, and widget. We are going to make use of plugins very well in this tutorial. So whenever I ask for plugins, you just come over to the asset menu, go over to this section and choose your plugin. Going over to the last section of our toolbar, the first one here is your draw menu. This is more like another canvas that concerns everything about your pencil and your pen tool. So you just have different brushes here that you can do stuff. Come over to brushes and choose whatever fill you want to use. So you can just do something like this. Increase the weight of it. You can try this out. The center one here is our main design menu that we are seeing right now. Now the last one here, it's dev mode. So this concerns developers if they want to inspect your design. So you can just come over here. It's on the professional plan. So you have to upgrade to access this. So let's just head back to the design mode. So lucky us because we don't have anything doing in the dev mode. All we have to do is just to design. In this introductory module, we're able to cover what is Figma, why you should use Figma, how to set up an account, and lastly, how to get comfortable with Figma interface like we just dealt with. In the next module, we'll be going more in depth in understanding some key terminologies that I should know before we start moving into the designing aspect.